shocking details emerge from a hearing in the case against two suspects accused of murdering a University of Wisconsin couple.
The court, unlike at a trial, must look at the evidence in the light most favorable to the state at this proceeding.
Dr. Beth Potter and her husband, Robin Carre, were found in a ditch near the campus arboretum. Both had been shot in the head, execution style.
He was wearing a pair of boxers. That was it. She had been wearing pajamas and socks, but no shoes.
Detectives questioned the couple's adopted daughter, Miriam. Her story led them to zero in on her boyfriend, Sanford, and his alleged partner in crime, Elijah LaRue.
Detective Burmeiser, during your contact with Ms. Potter Carre, did you and Detective Grand take custody of a cell phone that had been in her possession?
Yes, we did.
While detectives have evidence that appears to implicate all three in the couple's murder, only Sanford and LaRue are charged.
He overheard a conversation between Miriam Potter Carre and Sanford.
Investigators uncovered a witness, a high school classmate who told police he overheard Miriam plotting with her boyfriend.
He stated that he had been in a ceramics class at West High School. They were talking about robbing her parents because they were rich and that they had bands of money.
But Sanford's lawyer tries to limit the damage.
When the victims in this case were discovered, it's my understanding that Dr. Potter was still alive. Is that correct?
Correct.
She was pronounced dead, my understanding is approximately an hour and a half after her discovery?
Correct.
During that period of time, she did not implicate Mr. Sanford in her attack. Is that accurate?
Correct.
While defense attorneys suggest there is no physical evidence tying their clients to the murders, cell phone records tell an incriminating story.
At approximately 10:57 p.m., where did the GPS data from Mr. LaRue's phone suggest he was located?
It plotted near the intersection of North Winkler Drive and Viles Park Drive.
Could you describe for the court how that intersection would relate to the area approximately and where the bodies were found?
That would be basically the entrance of the UW Arboretum.
Just as cell phone tracking data puts LaRue at the crime scene the night before the bodies are discovered, surveillance video picks up this white van.
The victims had loaned their vehicle to Miriam Potter Carre and Sanford for use while they were living at the Airbnb.
Defense attorneys take turns attacking the evidence.
We have no GPS suggestion that he was at any relevant locations.
There was zero evidence presented that he was the shooter of these victims. There was no evidence at all that he knew that there was going to be a shooting.
We have no evidence that ties him to the shell casings or any gun at all.
But there's enough evidence to convince the judge to let a jury make the ultimate decision.
This court does find that for both Mr. Sanford and Mr. LaRue, probable cause has been shown that a felony has been committed and that each defendant probably committed it as a party to a crime.
So you have two of the three that are facing murder charges. The third, the daughter, Miriam, not facing any charges. I mean, a bit of a head scratcher, but, you know, I don't know exactly what's going on here. Let's bring in, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, criminal defense attorney Jason Lusak back with us. Jason, great to see you.
Hey, Vinny, nice seeing you too.
All right, I got a question on Wisconsin law. Is it against the law if you lie to investigators or police during the course of an investigation?
Yes, absolutely. Obstructing justice. I mean, that's a pretty common charge. Yeah, that's absolutely something that Miriam could be charged with.
Right.
I mean,
if she's allegedly lying to police about the investigation into the murder of her parents and she's not telling the truth, wouldn't you expect a charge against her?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really curious about this case is that you basically have a classic scenario where the link here is Miriam to the two victims. I mean, that's the closest link that you have. Then you have the two gentlemen who are obviously linked to Miriam. So the question becomes, okay, how did they target this person? What type of conversations did they have about committing this robbery? Maybe it was something that just went wrong. But certainly she's implicated, I think, by the evidence that we know about.
And I mean, there is, according to the preliminary hearing, there was a conversation where Miriam is plotting this robbery of her parents. So do you guys have, you have felony murder in Wisconsin, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We've got felony murder and also like these two gentlemen. I mean, from the preliminary hearing, you can kind of see the two lawyers, pointing to each other saying, well, you don't have any evidence that he was the shooter. You don't have any evidence that, my guy was the shooter. But at the end of the day, if they're a party to a crime, and let's say she was a party to a crime, particularly a felony as in, a conspiracy to commit a robbery of her parents, and something goes wrong and someone dies, they can absolutely be all held responsible for the death.
All right, let me ask you this. You have a trial for these two defendants, and whatever the result is, can you still down the road bring charges against her if you want to?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So what I think the strategy here is for prosecutors is, they may have some, and it may come to light in the trial that there's some sort of either consideration or kind of a wink and a nod that there's some cooperation that's going to be done here. And sometimes that comes on the back end of a case just for credibility purposes in the midst of trial. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily an appropriate way to do it, but it does happen, and that could be what's going on here.
So you're saying cooperation by Miriam as a potential witness for prosecutors here?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, because she's the link here. She's the link that I think ties all of this together. You've got the defense lawyers for these two gentlemen saying, what they don't have, but they're not really addressing, the evidence that the state does have, which is, I think, pretty substantial. And really, Miriam could probably be, the closer here and kind of close this case down for the state, and really make the evidence all tie together.
Here's the problem I have with that. And again, I don't know the evidence. Prosecutors know the evidence. They know what they can prove. But I'm just looking from the outside in. I look at this almost like a murder for hire case, right? Where someone says, yeah, here's an idea. Here's the person that I want you to kill. You go kill him. I think that person is the most responsible. If she is hatching a plan to rob her own parents and her parents died during the course of that robbery, I see her as the mastermind for what turned out to be a felony murder. I mean, if I'm a prosecutor, I think she would be, even if she's not the trigger person and didn't bring a gun and didn't think that they were going to die, she's the one hatching this plan against her parents. And to me would be the most culpable. That would be the one I would want to get. I would want to cut a deal with one of the other ones to get her.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Vinny. I mean, this has all the classic signs of that type of murder for hire type case where you've got the link here, which is Miriam, and she's somewhat a but-for cause. If she's not in the mix, this probably doesn't happen. And usually, when you're looking at from a prosecutor standpoint, they want to go after the person that is the reason why this thing happened in the first place. So it's very puzzling. And I think we'll really have to wait to see how this plays out to see what consideration
Absolutely.
is there and why haven't they been
Absolutely.
charged?
And again, I don't know what they know. They know a lot more than I do right now. I'm just looking from the outside in. Jason Luzak, great to have you on the program. Great insight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we are tracking this one. We've got a motion hearing on March 30th and another one on April 6th for the two defendants. We'll continue to stay on top of it, folks. What a case. It's incredibly tragic.